Hello there, beautiful souls. Welcome. And today I'm coming in with a Richter report. So a few months ago, I decided, it was actually during New Year's, I decided to do a Richter report, which is like I was going to read a book a week and then come in and give you a book report, sort of giving you the Coles Notes or the Coles Notes version of that book. And I was true to that, reading a book a week, looking to share with you the highlights of those books. Now, I love reading books that shape my mind, expand my thinking, have me see things in a new way, and I love to share those. I mean, if anyone knows me, if we get together over a cup of coffee, if we start talking books, that cup of coffee is turning into lunch, turning into dinner, turning into, just hours of conversation. I love talking books. And what's happening lately in the world as we know it is we're also being asked to really expand our minds and our thinking in different ways that we didn't normally think before. So in the ways of injustice and social injustice, and maybe in races or cultures that we're not familiar with. And so what I decided to actually do is take that Richter report and up it, take it, like up level it, bring it up to another notch, because I believe that we have, anything we want to learn is in a book, is already out there. People have already gone through life and written things for us to be able to know that their thoughts, their experiences, everything. And so I wanted to actually come in and every day this week talk about a book that encapsulates everything in a person's experience, and especially in a Black culture experience, whether that be Black American or in the world. So it reminds me of, actually, this is a book that I was on vacation in December, and a woman I happened to notice was reading this, and I came over to her and I acknowledged her for reading it, and she told me that she was almost finished it. She finished it and then came and found me to gift it to me. And this is how conversations start. She gifted me Just Mercy. I read it. Over this weekend, I actually got a chance to see the movie, which I hadn't seen it before. In the case, if you want to see it, there was all this talk about it streaming for free, and I tried to find it. I didn't mind even paying for it because I feel like, I want to support that the cause of it, right? Not try to get it for free. But I wanted to come and talk about this book because, as with everything, a book is always going to be more, have more insights than a movie will. The movie is fantastic, though. Do yourself a favor and watch that movie. It is riveting, and it has you on the edge of your seat, and it teaches you a lot about what's going on in the world. So we hear a lot about this thing called systematic racism or systemic racism, that the system is racist. And when you watch that movie, you actually get what that actually means. It doesn't mean that people have a subconscious view that is racist and it goes back to the millennia. It actually talks about how the system is actually geared to have more people. And as Brian Stevenson talks about, it's not just a racial divide, it's also a class divide. So the poor are more likely to be targeted for social injustice, police brutality. Then we get into the whole systemic racism part where, because of slavery and because of the hundreds of years of inequality, there are more Black people who are poor in America than there are white people who are poor. And that's not a condemnation of any white people. It's not saying that means that we should be up in arms about any kind of racial inequality or class inequality. That's the whole point that Brian Stevenson is making. It's not a racial divide as much as it is a class divide. What we're doing is throwing people who, by merit of having less opportunity in the world, are doing things that are illegal, but the forgiveness rating for what we're allowing people who, there are more people who are unjustly sitting on death row. 1 in 9 people are unjustly sitting on death row. So we've got to look at the whole system is skewed. As he said, actually, in Brian Stevenson, if you didn't catch the Super Soul Sunday yesterday, he was being interviewed and he was saying, in the 1970s, there were 300,000 people who were in the jail systems. Today, it is 2,300,000 people sitting in the jail cells. The jails are a money-producing, privately owned system. So when we're talking about systemic racism, 2.3 million people are sitting in jails, many of them unjustly accused, or many of them sitting in a jail for something that should be a forgivable crime, such as recreational drug use, not drug peddling, not, these things that should be rehabilitated, these things that should not be thrown into a system of incarceration and then death row. If you haven't watched the movie or read the book, so I'll say I read the book. It was extremely eye-opening. The movie more focuses on one aspect, but Bryan Stevenson in his book really talks about all the aspects, the women, the men, the poor, the classes. He talks about it from a huge-hearted perspective and a very human perspective. Very, very well worth the read. I'll also say it's actually a spiritual read. He's coming at it from the legal system, from a lawyer, but when you actually read it, he calls himself a stone catcher. And one of the things that he was saying is that he was touched by a verse that when people were throwing stones at the sinners and Jesus stopped them and caught the stones, and he was influenced by that. Hello, love, hello. He was influenced by that and considers himself a stone catcher, so that giving people who the rest of society has considered sinners, giving them an opportunity to redeem themselves. That's the whole point of the just mercy. Justice and mercy. And the biggest mercy we have to have is the mercy for ourselves. Where have we been broken? Where have we sinned? I'll leave you just with one little anecdote that I loved from this book, and he doesn't share it in the movie. But in fact, Bryan Stevenson, working in Alabama, actually got to know Rosa Parks before her death. She was a woman in her 70s, and she would come back to Birmingham, Alabama. And whenever she would come to have a visit, the people in that society and the community would call him, and he knew when they called, it was either to speak or to listen. And he knew that if it was to speak, it was that they were asking him to speak. If it was to listen, it was because Rosa Parks is coming to speak. And one day Rosa Parks turns to him and she says, "Bryan, tell me, what are you doing and what are you about?" And he goes on to start to tell her about his Equal Justice Initiative and how he's trying to ensure that people who are incarcerated wrongly get the right representation, and how he's trying to overthrow this classist division of systematic racism or systematic class division. And he's going on and on and on and telling her about the importance of his work and how important it is for him. And then Rosa Parks just looks at him and says, "Oh, honey, all that work's going to make you tired, tired, tired." And he sort of sat back and thought, didn't I impress upon Rosa Parks enough how important the work that I'm doing? I mean, here's the iconic Rosa Parks, who is a powerhouse even in her 70s and a charismatic woman and having so much energy. And she's telling me I'm going to be tired, tired, tired from doing all this advocacy work. And he was starting to get deflated and thinking, he wanted a nod from one of his idols. And she turned to him and saw his spark die down a little bit. And she said to him, "And if you're going to do all that work, you got to be brave, brave, brave." And just gave him that nod that he needed. And so that's, stone catching is what we're doing in this time. How is it that we can catch some stones that other people are throwing? And how is it that we can be brave, brave, brave? Just how can we be brave, brave, brave in our own lives and sort of get some justice and some mercy? And I'm going to be, for me, I know what I'm going to be doing is coming in every day this week to talk about a book that I've read, maybe not recently, maybe in previous history, a book that I've read. And for this week, I'm going to focus on the Black experience. So it might not be the African-American experience, but the Black experience. Just Mercy was the first one by Bryan Stevenson, his experience. And tomorrow, I'll actually take your votes. Everyone put in the comments. Tomorrow, I'm going to be covering Toni Morrison, because we cannot talk the Black experience without talking Toni Morrison. Please let me know which one of the books you'd rather hear about: Paradise, The Bluest Eye, Song of Solomon's, or Beloved tomorrow by Toni Morrison. If you haven't yet done so, either pick up Just Mercy and read it and be brave, 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 or I highly, highly, highly recommend watching the Just Mercy movie. Watch it tonight. Get your family, get your kids, get everyone, because this is going to create a discussion with everyone around you. Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. Until next time, be brave.